Hello everybody, my name is Goldenglue and I am a pro League of Legends player currently for Team Liquid, and I play mid lane. And there's a big preseason change happening right now where Runes and Masteries is getting completely revamped, and there will no longer be Runes and Masteries, and instead there'll be these, I don't exactly actually know what they're called, Runes Reforged. Okay. So basically what I did is I went through and I looked at every single one and I wrote down notes on which ones I thought were the strongest and which ones I think you should take overall. And I would say when you look at these, I'm kind of looking at it from a solo laner's perspective primarily, but I am just picking the one that I think has the most strength out of each slot. So I guess without further ado, we can get into it. So the first path I'll be looking over is Resolve. There's Grasp of the Undying, Aftershock, and Guardian. Now, I'm not going to read all these abilities, but I will just say which one I think is the strongest and why. So this one I think is a tie between Grasp of the Undying and Aftershock. So the reason I think it's a tie is because Grasp of the Undying for top lane is just going to be a really, really good lane mastery to have. It'll make you a lot stronger lane. It scales, giving you health every single time you use it, permanent health. But on the other hand, Aftershock could be really good for supports in the fact that it gives you a lot of flat armor MR when you use a CC on a champion, and it also has a nice poke damage with the explosion. So I think these are two equally in strength. Like if you're playing a jungler and you want to be tanky, you go this. If you're playing a laner, you go Grasp. Okay, time for the strength. So after this one, I chose Unflinching because straight up you get 10% tenacity when summoner spells are on cooldown, so a total for 20% if both spells are on cooldown. And there's a lot of just stuff going on where you can have like more summoner spells than normal, so you can actually get more use out of this this rune than you normally would before. Another one that I thought was kind of interesting was Demolished. It has potential, but it's kind of cheesy. It's basically just you charge up. If you basically poke out your laners, you can just use this and deal fat damage to a turret. I could see some cheeses where like in bot lane people go like double Demolish or something, and then if you ever get pushed out of lane, you just instantly lose your turret. That could be really funny. I could see some potential in this just being super broken. Okay, for the next one, Resistance. So for this one, I choose Conditioning as being the best one. I think bot laners might be taking Iron Skin. I think Conditioning is really good for top and mid lane because generally those are farm lanes anyway. You can play pretty safe. In a competitive sense, Conditioning is way better. Maybe for solo queue, you'll want to take Iron Skin, but for competitive, Conditioning is going to be really good. Vitality. Now for this one, I chose Second Wind, mainly just because it gives you a lot of health back in lane, and it's a really good lane phase mastery. And it'll make a big difference in the regeneration you'll get after you take damage. Okay, on to Domination. So I think the best keystone on Domination is Electrocute, which is basically Thunderlords. These other two, they're interesting and they could definitely have uses, but overall, if you're a champion that can use 3 separate attacks or abilities, now it is a little bit different now because before it was 3 of any instances of damage would have proc Thunderlords, and now it has to be 3 different kinds of damage. So it could be like a Rise E auto Q, that would proc it. But like for example, like auto Q would not proc it now. Still, I think will be a really good summoner spell. For Malice, I think that Sudden Impact will probably be the strongest one. The cooldown is really short on this ability, and it gives you basically lethality or magic pen depending on what kind of champion you are. Oh, actually no, it grants you both. Doesn't matter. It's not adaptive. So I could see like Fizz, Talon using these really well, especially Fizz. 4-second cooldown on a Q. Anytime you deal damage, you get this, and I think that's going to be really good. For tracking, I think Zombie Ward is going to be the best. Not only when you leave a ward and it dies, another ward spawns in its place, but anytime you kill a ward, you spawn your own ward there. So I think warding brushes is going to be a lot better because a lot of people would just ward in the open, but now warding brushes will be a lot more valuable because these zombie wards are visible. And you kind of have to think of it like a pink ward where anyone can just auto it. And generally you want to put pink wards always in brushes. So you have to walk up to the brush to hit it. I think zombie ward's going to be really good though. Hunter. So this one I chose. I wasn't completely sure about this one. Because I think there's two potential. I think you can go Ravenous Hunter or Relentless Hunter, depending on what you want to do. I don't really like this one too much, Ingenious Hunter. So Relentless Hunter is basically just better for assassins. It gives you movement speed out of combat and movement speed on takedowns, on kills. So it's really good for roaming. On the other hand, Ravenous Hunter will give you basically spell vamp on your abilities. So really good, just like team fighting and laning phase ability. All right, on to Precision. So I think this one, the best keystone looks like to me, Fleet Footwork. Mainly just because if you're going for someone who goes Lethal Timbo or Press the Attack, you can just keep cutting on your energized stacked, or keep trading on your energized stacked timer, and then you just auto attack them. You get movement speed, you do extra damage, you heal, and then you kite out the other two, because the other two need to be basically hitting something that's standing still. Heroism, I think Overheal is one of the best runes in the rework. I think this is going to be a really good one. Excess healing on you becomes a shield for up to 10% of your total health, plus 10. Shield is built up from yourself, 30%, and 300% from other people healing you. So I feel like bot lane, AD carries will take this every single time. It's absurd. Legend. So for this one, I chose Tenacity just because Tenacity is like one of the hardest stats to get in League, and you can only buy so much in the game. Basically, this gives you a flat 5% Tenacity and an additional 1.5% for every stack you get after that. So I think Tenacity will be good for that. And for combat, I think Coup de Grace is going to be the best one. Deal 10% more damage to champions who have less than 40%. Pretty normal. You also get 80 in AP after you get a kill. So that's kind of cool, I guess. Just whatever. Sorcery. So Sorcery, I think the keystone is the hardest one to tell. I say Phase Rush just because I think movement speed is a really good thing to have, and you don't even have to do a lot of damage now. You just have to hit them with 3 separate attacks, which I think is a little bit easier, honestly, for most champions. I need to see the accuracy of Arcane Comet and how actually reliable summon areas to see how good they are. They both have potential to be good. I just don't really know how accurate that this Comet is going to be, like how likely it is to hit. Because if it's something where like it's a Vigar W where you just dodge every single time, it's going to be a really bad one. But if it's something like maybe on someone like Swain where you lock somebody down with W and then you Comet them, maybe it has potential. But overall, this one seems to be the most versatile. For Artifact, I think Nullifying Orb will be the best. And it just gives basically the Hex Drinker passive for free, which is really strong. So if you're laning versus a mage, you should be taking this. I mean, a 60-second cooldown, it's insane. Excellence. So this one, I think that Celerity will be the best. You get flat movement speed and 8% bonus movement speed added to your AP or AD adaptively. So it'll just make you faster and give you a little bit more stats. I think that'll be really good for solo lanes. Maybe you'll take Transcendence more on a support-oriented champion. And this one is still good. Transcendence is still good, but I feel like Celerity will probably be a little bit better, but it'll be hard to tell. Okay, Power. Now, I think this one, Scorch is by far the best one overall. Your next ability hits champions on fire, dealing 30 to 60 bonus magic damage based on level after 1 second, cooldown 20 seconds. So a flat 30 damage on additional spell level 1 with only a 20-second cooldown is pretty nutty for lane phase. That'll add a lot of damage to your trades. And I think if your opponent doesn't go Scorch, then you can just think if you trade twice in a minute, you know, they'll have an extra 60 health down. I mean, that's pretty significant from level 1. Gathering Storm is interesting, though, because if you make it to 60 minutes with Gathering Storm, you get either 168 AP or 101 AD. So this could be really good if you end up going to 60 minutes, but in most cases, take Scorch. And Inspiration, which I think Inspiration is the hardest or just most interesting and new, I guess, rune set, and that's going to be joining, and you get a bunch of interesting bonuses for going Inspiration plus another tree. So I imagine a lot of people would be taking Inspiration as a secondary tree. Keystones, I think it's hard to tell. Kleptomancy, I don't know the numbers on Kleptomancy. After using an ability, your next attack on champion grants bonus gold. There's a chance you'll also gain a consumable. I don't know if that could even be elixirs. Is that just potions? Is that pink wards? Could it be anything? This could be really good depending on like the RNG. But just in generally, I'm gonna say Unsealed Spellbook's the best, and it's a really weird new thing where you gain a Summoner Shard at 2 minutes and another every 6 minutes after 2 max shards. While near the shop, you can exchange 1 Summoner Shard to replace a Summoner spell with a different one. Summoner spells are reduced by 25%. So basically what this means is you can go back to shop and trade Summoner spells into the shop. So you can go like, let's say you get pushed out of lane early. You'll be like, hey, I want to TP back to lane because I just got pushed back early. I'm going to just TP back to lane. And it's just like, okay, like that's a thing now. Really, it's probably going to be really unfun when people do that. I think that'll be really annoying to play against, really obnoxious, but we'll see how it goes. Contraption, I think Biscuit Delivery will be the best. Basically, Biscuit Delivery will give you it'll give you a potion in your inventory every 3 minutes until 12 minutes. So a total of 4 potions just freely given to you, and they heal you for 50% of your missing health and mana, and also consumes your increases your mana cap by 40 permanently, which is kind of weird why it does that. And if you don't have mana, it gives you 20% missing health instead, which is, you know, it's not bad. Be really good for lane phase. So tomorrow, I'm not sure how good magical footwear could be. Honestly, all of these are really up in the air. This one's a really up in the air one. Hard to say. I went with minion dematerializer. Basically, it gives you a smite kind of thing. You can think of it like that way. Lets you insta kill a minion in lane. So I think people will go this, and then you can surprise people and hit level 2 instantly or hit level 3 instantly when the minions are full health. You just basically smite the minion, you hit level 2, and you all in them. I can see that being a really strong like combination. And then finally Beyond. So for Beyond, I think Cosmic Insight is overall the best one. If you're playing a support champion, maybe Approach Velocity you could play. But basically Cosmic Insight just gives you a bunch of flat CDR. Flat CDR, maximum CDR, summoner spell CDR, and item CDR. So I think, you know, those will be the best runes coming up into the next preseason. If you like this video, you know, like, follow, subscribe, do all that junk. And I will, at the end of this video, I will just put an image of the notepad of just the tier list of notes, I think, of the best ones. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. It should be a really exciting new season coming up. I honestly don't know what's going to be happening. I'm going to be just trying a bunch of stuff. I've been theory crafting, looking over a bunch of stuff. But don't be too discouraged. The runes is the biggest difference in the new season. So if you watch this video, you probably have a little bit better understanding of what to expect in the upcoming games that you're going to play. And it should be fun. So thank you for watching. Bye-bye.